So, LaVar, how confident are you in Dak heading into week one?
I'm not very confident. And listen, we've discussed this at length on the show all week in terms of hold a guy out to play or not to play. That is the question. If Dak Prescott can play, you get him reps. Why? Because you're heading into a season where, well, you're going to be facing off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Chargers in the first 2 weeks of the season. That's two top 10 total defense teams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers being, sixth. The Chargers being 10th. In fact, tied for fourth in sacks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense front. I just think that if you want to see Dak Prescott have a chance, a fair chance against top-rated defenses to have success, you needed to see if he could do something in the preseason. Something, not nothing. You needed to see something. And if he's not healthy enough where you could see that something, and you're hoping that he's healthy enough for the first week of the season, the second week of the season, then you're probably best served to assume that he's not going to be up to par in terms of health-wise to be able to produce. So I got to say, if he does play well, good for him. But in terms of going into it with confidence about him being able to show that he can handle top 10 defenses consecutively in the start of the season, not so much.
Yeah, not confident at all. Jerry Jones says that as of this morning, we should not be worried. I'm sorry, Jerry. I'm worried. You've got a guy who's coming back on a reconstructed ankle. He hasn't been able to throw. He hasn't taken a live snap since October 11th. And you're going on the road to play the defending Super Bowl champions. If it was just Dak Prescott that you were trying to plug in to a team that is humming right now and has everything else sorted out, I might feel a little bit different. But that's not even the case. The Dallas Cowboys have had a star-crossed training camp, and the extent to which Hard Knocks has given us a great insight to, that things have not gone the way that they have wanted. They're preseason games, so the win-loss record doesn't really matter, except that they really wanted to win a game, to feel that surge, to feel that energy, to have something positive to build on. With Dak Prescott straining a muscle in his shoulder from day one, or all the other things, still having to sort out the offensive line. Do I think Dak Prescott can get back to being Dak Prescott at some point? Yes, but the idea that he's either going to succeed in week one, and what really does worry me is with everything not being sorted out and the position that he's in, I just don't want him to get hurt again week one. And considering who they're going up against and the circumstances, there's no guarantee that that's not going to happen.
Well, the week one opponent to me doesn't really matter. There's NFL defensive linemen on every single NFL team. So some are better than others, but I don't think you can put bubble wrap around a player. I'm with LaVar on the not being soft thing that we talked about yesterday. Okay. I don't think you can put bubble wrap on a player just because you're going up against a tough opponent. So that part doesn't concern me as much as the longevity of Dak Prescott over the course of an extended season. We have a longer season now. He's coming into the season injured. And my bigger question about this whole situation, which is what makes me only a little bit confident in it, is that they've been very vague about what's going on. All of the reporters, all of the sources, people that are close to the team are saying they're concerned and this is a real issue. The Cowboys are saying there's nothing to worry about. Well, that makes me think it's somewhere in the middle where maybe Dak isn't as injured as the far end is saying, but he's certainly not 100% healthy because he was very clear he wanted to be out there for preseason to get comfortable with his ankle injury that he was coming off of. So this is a very long season. It is a Dak-centric offense. He is so much more than just the quarterback. He is the heart and soul of this team. And we saw how quickly they fell apart without him last year. So I'm confident in Dak in Dak as a leader. I'm confident in all of his intangibles. I'm confident in his ability to overcome, but I'm not confident in this situation long term. And because it is now a 17-game season and he is coming in injured, in a very specific place in his body, I am a little concerned. And I also don't think that at this point it would be a knock to morale if they made a move for a legitimate backup quarterback. I actually think it would be a relief to the situation. I feel like they're maybe not leaning into that because they don't want to confirm how injured Dak is, but what it would really do is alleviate a little bit of the tension to me. Now, we're not in the building, so I can't speak to whether, how good Dak is feeling, but we all know this is a longer season, and we all know what's going to happen if he's not out there. So having a competent backup, I think, would be the best move for them at this point.
Come on over to the dark side,
You're
Joy.
saying you're a little bit confident.
Yeah.
But
did you
you're
hear
a little bit confident in what
I'm
for
a little
week
bit confident.
one, based on everything that you just said?
I know that Dak is going to be out there week one. Everyone is saying he's going to be out there week one. So I'm a little bit confident in Dak. But I'm not confident in the situation as we're talking about the entire season. Like, the macro situation is very concerning. Micro being, is he going to play week one? I'm sure he's going to play week one. That's what they're saying. Why would he not be out there week one? They're just
I get that.
They're using all the time that they have to let him rest this injury. But
your confidence,
macro, whole season long, that he might miss a game or two, and they need to have a really competent backup out there.
Here's the point of what Joy just said. Take the bubble wrap off of him, because this whole soft versus smart is now at play all over again. Why? Because you need to see if he can take a hit. You need to see if he can get out of the way. Now, if that's the last preseason game, then use it for the last preseason game. He does not have to play an entire quarter. He doesn't have to play an entire half or a game. Give the man a series. That says to me what Joy just said. Something ain't right. Yeah, if you want that in English and not in Ebonics, something is not right. That's why they're not playing him. So there can't be a tremendous amount of confidence in terms of thinking that Dak Prescott is going to come in and somehow, some way, be a player that we expected him to be prior to the major injury, not the second one, not the shoulder resting, but prior to the ankle injury, because he has not had meaningful reps to see what his timing is in a game. We just talked about Andy Reid saying Pat Mahomes needs to play. Why? To get the timing down with his offensive line, to get the timing down with his offense. Dak Prescott needs that probably even more than a Patrick Mahomes does. And yet you're not going to put him out there for at least a series. At least a series, so he can see 100% coming at you game rep. You cannot simulate it in practice. So to me, that says something is wrong. If you're not playing him, something is wrong. So it goes to the last point that Joy just made, which I do believe I made this point yesterday as well. If you have that concern, I don't care what you're telling the public. Jerry Jones can say what he wants to say, but if you have that concern, you know they do not have the backups to be able to sustain having a good season if Dak Prescott goes down. Yeah. So why not see if he's going to be able to do it so that you can get a quarterback in now and have enough time to get him acclimated?
LaVar, that's the whole thing. Okay. Is the reason that they're saying he's ready and they're going with him is because they don't have an option. Like, he's not playing. I gather you would feel different if they were playing him in the last preseason game. If they gave him a quarter in the last preseason game.
No, don't give him a quarter. Don't give him that much.
You would feel more confident about Dak Prescott going into week one than you do right now. Is that the distinction?
It doesn't have to be a quarter, Rick. Give me
I know, I'm just saying, whatever.
Give me
series,
some plays. Yes.
You would just need to see him.
Yes.
See, for me, that would help a little bit. It would expose whether he's actually physically ready to go or not. But to me, it's not just the question of his physical ability right now. Like, let's say he's good to go. He's not going to be 100%. Let's say he's 95%, he's 90%, whatever it is.
But that's clearing a hurdle.
If you could assure me he's that, fine. But even if you could assure me of that, I'm not confident at all that Dak Prescott is ready to go. Prepared. The definition of ready.
Ready.
The definition of ready. Part of the definition of ready is fully prepared. Mm-hmm. He's not fully prepared. So even if he's close to 100% healthy, putting him out there under these circumstances, and as I said, Joy, I agree with you. Like, big picture, season long, I'm confident Dak Prescott can get back to some close semblance of what he's been. What my concern is, going into week one against this opponent with such little preparation, with a team that is still in somewhat disarray, that is a recipe for disaster. Jerry, you're asking me not to be worried. I'm reading all the tea leaves. I'm looking at everything that's transpired, and I'm going, okay, there's a lot of things here that you need to assure me about that you can't, because everything I'm looking at says this is not a good situation for your Dallas Cowboys going into week one.
He's certainly not as prepared as all the other teams. I do think that you can not have those reps in training camp and still be able to play week one. We saw that last year.
Not having played since October 11th?
The entire league did not have a full offseason to prepare, and they still went into the season and were able to do it. Dak is a veteran at this point. It's not like he's a rookie that they're throwing out there coming off of an ankle injury and a shoulder strain.
But how many of those guys missed almost all of last season?
Well, yes, that's a good point that he was out, but he's not going to forget how to play football. I agree with you that he's not as prepared as everyone else, and that it would be ideal for him to have a full offseason healthy, and that he's not going to be 100% prepared. But he's not going to forget how to play football. Like, yes, they are behind the curve, and ideally you would have wanted him to have a full training camp. But that's why I'm saying I still have confidence in Dak. Dak is still in the quarterback room. He's still at camp. He's still working out. He is just limited. So is it an ideal situation? No. But that's why I think it's so important that they get a serviceable backup quarterback, because he's not going to lose his job. Dak Prescott is not going to lose his job to this backup quarterback. They just paid him. It's not going to mess up morale. It's not going to be any confusion whatsoever in the Cowboys facility about who the guy is just because they bring in a backup quarterback. But they do need a backup, because this is a serious situation. And I don't know why the Cowboys are being so vague about it, because like I said to start with, you have people like Troy Aikman, you have Michael Irvin, you have Schefter, you have all these reports that Dak is not ready to go, that he is not 100%, that this is a very concerning situation. And then you have the Cowboys on the total opposite end of the spectrum. That is not a recipe for success to me. That means something is up. To LaVar's point, if he was okay to be out there, giving him a series would make sense. So he is clearly still injured if you don't even feel comfortable putting him out there for a series. Yeah. Because it's not even about the ankle anymore. It's about the shoulder.
You know why they're so optimistic, or they're speaking so optimistically. They believe in unicorns and rainbows in Dallas. That's always been the case. It's always been, we're a Super Bowl champ. The greatness of the Dallas Cowboys is right around the corner. That has been the song that they've been singing for some 20, 25 years. So this idea that Dak's going to be fine, we're going to be fine, nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. I mean, that's kind of the song we've been hearing for quite some time, in spite of all the other evidence.
If you think Dallas is going to go into a game against the defending world champions with that defensive front and those linebackers and that secondary, and he's had no reps, you might not want to have too much confidence in what the outcome of that is going to be.